Welcome to part 2 of the Prednisone Mood Changes Marathon. In this section, we're focusing on solutions, how to cope with the mood changes, and emotional side effects of prednisone. I'm Dr. Megan, a board-certified doctor of pharmacy, third-generation pharmacist, and former prednisone patient myself. Over the years, I've heard from thousands of patients struggling with prednisone side effects, and these seem to be the number one reason people contact me for help. In this part 2 of the Mood Changes Marathon, you'll learn practical strategies to manage anxiety, mood swings, and depression while on prednisone, whether supplements can help, what to tell your family so they can better understand and help you manage this time. And most importantly, you'll hear personal stories from prednisone warriors, people who've been exactly where you are, including how one person said that prednisone had taken over their life. These stories are powerful reminders that you're not alone and that there's hope, even when prednisone feels overwhelming. Let's dive in to how you can take control of your mental health while on prednisone.
Sorry, I can't take my mask off for this video. I'm currently in the emergency room with my little baby, and boy, was that waiting room completely full. Holy cow, it's insane. Sorry that you can't see my lips moving, but COVID is high in my area right now, and they told me I'm not allowed to take off my mask in this room. So while I'm sitting here waiting for results for my little baby, I got a phone call from a prednisone patient, and she wanted to tell me about her situation and how it has completely ruined her life. She said, taking prednisone has completely ruined my life. And I was like, wow, that's dramatic. And she's only 28, and she wanted to know, am I ever going to recover? And so I wanted to make this video for those of you who are struggling on prednisone. That yes, there is hope you will recover. There's 150 side effects, but most of them aren't permanent. Most of them are not irreversible. Most of them you can recover from. It takes time, but it should happen. She was worried because she was having mania and bipolar and racing thoughts. And she said, I used to have a quiet mind, and now I don't have a quiet mind. I can't stop the thoughts. And so if that's you, this is normal for prednisone. Prednisone makes you feel like a totally different person. She said she had family members and friends who've severed relationships with her because of her behavior while on prednisone. And that breaks my heart. And it's sad how often I hear of that. But prednisone is changing personalities. Prednisone changes moods. Prednisone can change how you act. And so if you have family members who are struggling with your behavior while on prednisone, tell them to watch this video. Say, hey, I know that I'm not acting like myself. And I want you to know that it's not me, it's the drug. Because that's 100% true. I'm a doctor of pharmacy. I have board certification. I've been studying prednisone for years now. And it is not you, it's the drug. And so I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one feeling like this. That prednisone is so hard. It's a miracle. It saves lives. It saved mine. And it's saving this girl's life. But it's coming at such a huge cost. I'm just glad to hear her doctor is tapering her off so that she doesn't have to be on it anymore. It looks like Mark said he didn't know this. What else? Anybody other questions? So I just really want to reiterate that if you're taking prednisone, it's not you, it's the drug. And if you're feeling like it's completely taken over your life, you are not alone. It affects so much, and it's not just your health, it's your personality, and it's your relationships. And so if you need help, please reach out for it. Tell your doctor what you're suffering. Tell your doctor all of your side effects so that they can get you the help you need. I have videos specifically meant for family members. If you get those family members who don't understand, just search what I wish my family knew about prednisone, and you'll come up with my video and you can show it to them. Mark says, how long does it take for these effects to be gone? These effects are gone. So basically, how long does it take is the golden $1 million question. And if I knew the answer, I would be a millionaire. Every single person is different. It has to do with what you're taking it for, what your baseline health was before you started taking prednisone, your genetics, because prednisone actually goes in and changes the way your body reads your DNA. It has to do with what dose you were taking, how long you took it. So all of those factors make it so it's nearly impossible to predict how long each person is going to be suffering. But generally, the higher the dose, the longer term, the longer it takes to recover. But there are some people I've talked to who've taken just one dose, and it has made them have severe anxiety and mind racing and jitteriness after just one dose. And so, what other questions? Laura, Mark, Marla, I'd love to hear. What other questions do you have? So I'm just sitting here in the emergency room with my baby, waiting to find out what's wrong. I'm not seeing any other questions, but I hope you saw my other live this morning that I did about the Pfizer vaccine has been FDA approved. And I think the name of it is really funny. It's like community, but like you're chewing on a golf ball. Community is how you say it. I think the name is hilarious. And Mark, I'm so glad to hear you're down to 5 milligrams. That is awesome. That means that there's hope on the horizon for you. You are getting there. Keep going. Okay, so if you are on prednisone, I'm suggesting you should go and get your third dose if you got an mRNA vaccine. If you didn't get mRNA and you got Johnson & Johnson, don't worry about it right now. They can't get another dose yet. So just, if I were you, I would go to the pharmacy right now and get your next dose, as long as it's been 28 days since your last one, before there's a rush for that third booster. Theirs is going to be called a booster, but yours will be called an additional dose because you're on prednisone and you're immunocompromised. So that's what I would do if I were taking prednisone and worried about being immunocompromised. Okay, so Laura says, thanks for this information. I don't have those side effects. Oh, Laura, you are so lucky. I'm so glad you don't have those side effects. That's another terrible consequence of prednisone, but not everybody gets it, right? And it's worse at higher doses. So I'm glad you don't get it.
I got an email today from somebody wondering, am I going crazy? He asked. Is it me, or what could this be? I want to read you this email he sent me because it could be you. You never know when you might feel this way, because a lot of people are completely baffled, surprised, blown away by how prednisone makes them feel. And I want you to be prepared, knowing whether or not it's you or if it's the drug. So here's the email I received. Dear Dr. Megan, just a note of thanks. When I was put on prednisone in February, my doctor only told me I would possibly experience weight gain and have to pee a lot. I was on it for severe colitis. In the past month, I have become extremely anxious with paranoia and insomnia. I had that too. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I've gotten upset and angry and completely irrational with other people. Later, when I talk to them and we talk it out, I realized how irrational I was and that I was making up backstories or other thoughts that simply were not true. It has been so painful and frustrating. I can't trust my feelings or my thoughts. None of this was ever shared with me by my doctor, and it was only talking to my mom, who told me when she was on it, she couldn't sleep, felt restless, and her anxiety went through the roof. Until she said that, I had no idea. I'm working on it now. I stopped taking it at the end of April and hoping it will get better. Thank you. I appreciate all that you shared and explained in your video on the side effects. It was reassuring for me because I could literally check boxes as you were explaining them. I'm already off to a high anxiety Monday morning. hoping my mood will swing before I break down and cry, get angry and irrational, or start laughing. Joy. All emotions I'd rather not feel or share with others. Appreciate it. So that is what this prednisone warrior said about how prednisone was making him feel while taking high doses for I don't know how long, but he was started in February, went down to April, and then he found my article about prednisone causing mood changes, psychiatric side effects. And a previously normal person who's prescribed prednisone can suddenly feel like they need to be checked into the psych ward. I know I personally had a lot of those same issues. Like I had anxiety, and I never have anxiety. I got upset. I got angry, completely irrational. Like it changes moods. It makes us feel like we're not ourselves. And so prednisone is a miracle drug, but miserable. So he said, I appreciate all that you shared and explained in your video on the side effects. So I have another video. I'd love you to check it out. It details every single mood side effect and when it's most likely. For example, certain side effects are worse at high doses. Like anxiety is worse at higher doses and depression is worse at lower doses. Some things are worse in men and some things are worse in women. And so you can check out that video I have to find out more about that. And then he continued to go on and say, after I got his permission to share his story, he said, as an aside, my friend watched that video this morning and she said she saw it all too. Specifically, this is what she said. She has also seen the rapid speech, so having to talk really, 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 really fast to get it all out, jumping from topic to topic to topic, and short-term memory stuff. It's all connected. That's what his friend said, that she could see the side effects happening in him. And that's one of the hardest things to me is that prednisone doesn't just affect one person. Like, it's not just like, oh, well, I'm taking prednisone and so I might suffer, but no one else will notice or care. That it's affecting this prednisone warrior's family, his coworkers, who knows, like all the important people in his life. And that's really rough when you have to take prednisone, this poisonous drug. Like it's so toxic. It causes so many side effects, more than any other. And you're taking it because you absolutely need it. Like I talked to someone today who's like, I feel like I have no other choice. And that's how it was for me. This person I talked to this morning, she was like, I have this terrible rash and bites and like this infestation. And the only thing she can do is take prednisone. And she's like, is it going to be that bad if I take it for just 3 days? And I said, I don't know. I've heard from people who have said, I just wish I'd never taken a single dose because of how terrible the anxiety made them feel. I've had people who took prednisone for COVID infections, like post-COVID long hauler syndrome, not being able to breathe. And then the prednisone is the only thing they could take. But they said that the COVID infection and not being able to breathe, they would take that any day over the psychiatric side effects of prednisone. Can you believe that? Like that's how bad this anxiety, this pressured speech, this insomnia, like being up all night, all by yourself, like no one else is awake in your family, in the world, on your side of the world, and being all alone. I mean, it's so isolating being on prednisone and having these mood side effects because you're the only one feeling it, and it's alienating you from family members who don't understand it and don't know what's going on. And so I also have a video all about what I want my family to know. And so check that video out because it helps you to say, okay, I know I'm not acting like me. I know like this is hard for you to deal with. I'm sorry. But I want you to understand that I'm not the only one who's felt this way. That watch this video and see the actual words from other prednisone warriors and what they said about what they wish their family members understood. That it changes your mood, it changes your appetite, so you gain weight and you don't look like yourself, you don't act like yourself, you get this round face. And we just really need our family members to understand, our close friends, our coworkers, that this drug is so vital for our health to survive. Like, I personally might not be here if it weren't for prednisone. I might be dead because I was bleeding to death of a potential autoimmune condition that made me so my platelets were zero almost. I had almost had no ability to clot. And prednisone made it so I could live and I can clot. And thankfully I'm in remission now, so there's no problems with that. But prednisone and other steroids, not just prednisone, methylprednisolone, dexamethasone, hydrocortisone, they can all cause these terrible mood changes, these psychiatric side effects. And so if that's you, I want you to know, like he did, the first thing that is, it's not you, it's the drug. It's that little pill and it's a side effect. You are not going crazy. You are just taking a pill. Most of the time, these side effects, like anxiety, mood changes, go away if you stop taking the prednisone. He's still dealing with it. Like, he stopped in April. It's May 10th. He's still dealing with it. So usually they go away, but it can take some time. Now your next question is, how long? I can't tell you that. It's individual. Every person is different, but it does go away 99% of the time. That's the first thing I want you to understand, is it's not you, it's the drug. The second thing is there are ways to help. The first thing you need to do if you are suffering this, after talking to your family and saying, hey, it's not me, it's the drug, is let your doctor know. Because often they're not necessarily looking for these side effects. And like this guy said, he wished his doctor had told him. His doctor said, I possibly experienced weight gain and pee a lot. Like, the doctor didn't mention insomnia or mood changes. So your doctor might not even be looking for this, but your doctor needs to know. Because that changes the benefit to risk calculation. If you're taking prednisone for a condition that isn't life-threatening, but it's kind of nice to have the prednisone, then maybe the benefits don't necessarily outweigh the risks anymore. For you, if you're having severe mental illness caused by the prednisone. So you need to tell your doctor if you're suffering like this. No matter what, you need to tell your doctor whatever side effect it is, but if it's a mental illness type of side effect, they need to know, because some of them are life-threatening. Some of them have prescription drug treatments. Some of them have other treatments that can help you. But if your doctor doesn't know, they can't prescribe it for you. And so there are ways to cope, but you have to tell your doctor. You have to tell your doctor. You need to be in constant communication throughout your prednisone journey with your doctor, letting them know, hey, I'm not sleeping tonight at all. What can I do? Or I feel uncontrollable rage, like I might get in a car accident because I'm so furious when I'm on my commute. Or I might have, some serious familial issues if I don't get help. Tell your doctor what you're going through so they can help you, because there are some amazing medications out there that really can help. That's the second thing. The third thing is, I have a checklist that people can download. It's called the Prednisone Wellness Checklist, or the Ultimate Prednisone Checklist, of all the things you need to look out for. Because often things like this, people weren't told about, weren't told to look for, and you don't even know what else to look for while you're on prednisone, and then what you can do about it.
And so on my checklist, I have all the things to be looking for and then all the things you can do about what you're looking for. And so if you haven't downloaded that yet, please sign up today. I'm Dr. Megan, the Prednisone Pharmacist, and it's at prednisonepharmacist.com. You can find it on any page, or you can click the link below to get you straight to the prednisone checklist. I believe so strongly in it that I just know that that's the best way I can help you to prevent other prednisone side effect problems. If you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Megan, the Prednisone Pharmacist, and I don't want you to suffer. I'm here so that you don't just survive prednisone, but you thrive while on prednisone. And I can't wait to hear if you have any other recommendations for people on prednisone. If you have any other suggestions or questions about prednisone causing mental illness side effects, mood changes, psychiatric side effects, whatever you want to call them, please comment below, and I can add your question to a future video, or we can have a discussion going with other people's suggestions of what they would do to cope with your side effect. So please comment below, and then if you haven't already, get the prednisone checklist for people on prednisone to feel better now.
Dr. Megan, I only made it 3 days. Am I going to be okay? I hear this all the time. When is it going to go away? I started this and I took it for only 3 days, but it was so terrible I had to stop. When will it go away? I'm Dr. Megan, the Prednisone Pharmacist. I'm here to answer that question. First, is it okay to stop after only 3 days? And second, when will the side effects go away? So let me do the story that I hear pretty much at least once a week. Somebody calls me desperately telling me a variation of this exact same story, and they're very desperate. Hi, Dr. Megan. 3 weeks ago, I was given prednisone. This person was given 40 milligrams for 10 days to treat possible asthma. I say possible because I tested pretty good on the breathing test, and it could have just been bronchitis from my seasonal allergies. The pulmonary doctor did not warn me or anything about the possible side effects of the drug. I only made it 3 days of treatment because of side effects like stomach upset, severe insomnia, and slight depression building. As soon as I stopped in the middle of the night of not sleeping, my heart spiked, and I was either having a panic attack or it felt like something with adrenaline. I went to the urgent care the next day after feeling terrible, and she said I didn't need to taper because I was only on it for a short time. After stopping, I began to have depression, anxiety, insomnia, and digestive issues. I even went to the ER to make sure I was okay, and all my physical exams came back normal. The doctor said it would be out of my system around that first week mark. Jump forward to 3 weeks now after stopping it, and I still struggle with depression and anxiety and insomnia. My life has been hell since using/stopping it. Now I'm going to see a therapist. I've been taking all the right steps of exercising for depression. I love that. Having a routine before bed for insomnia, and breathing techniques for anxiety. I even had my cortisol levels checked, and they came back slightly high, but in the normal range. Every week I've been a little bit better, but I could use your advice on how long these side effects usually take to last, and what point should I consider possibly using medication to deal with this. This is especially hard because I only used it for 3 days, and I didn't even need it to begin with. My doctor should have warned me because I would have never used it if I knew. I could use your help and what I should do going forward. Thanks, Kyle. So there's several things I want to show you from this story that I hear over and over. First of all, the betrayal of the uncertainty of even needing the prednisone to begin with. Did your doctor really even need to prescribe it? Did they warn you? And no, the doctor didn't warn you of how bad it could really be, and it wasn't even worth it
if you'd known. You would have never taken this kind of a risk if it had been a calculated risk. You'd have never thought, oh, I'm having a little bit of trouble breathing. Let's go for perfectly terrible insomnia, anxiety, depression for the next who knows how long. You would never make that choice. And so for him, he can see that the benefits never would have outweighed the risks, but he was never given enough information to know that. So that's the first thing, is the betrayal, like that feeling of, I wish they'd told me and they didn't even bother to say this could happen. Okay, so that's the first theme that I see every time. Second is, it's only been 3 days. How could this have completely ruined my life? Or other people, I've only taken 1 dose. How come I don't feel like myself at all? And that happens all the time. People are completely shocked that only 1 pill, only 3 days in this case, was enough to completely upset their mental health. Otherwise, perfectly normal mental health, or maybe minor mental health issues in the past, and now completely out of control and not functioning. That happens all the time. If this is you, if this is your story happening right now, you're not alone. This happens often. I am not exaggerating when I say I get a phone call from somebody desperate at least once a week about this. If you would like to have a call with me, I'll have a link below and I can consult with you one-on-one. You can see my rates. And I literally get once a week somebody saying, this is taking over my life. What am I supposed to do? So first of all, it was that betrayal. Second is this even possible? And yes, 1 dose is enough. 3 days is enough to make you feel this awful. Third is, what can I do? I guess is the question he's kind of asking. I love the steps he's already taking, and I recommend these for everyone who ever calls me. He said, I've been taking all the right steps of exercising for depression. So I totally agree with that. If you're feeling depression from prednisone, one of the very best things you can do is get outside and exercise. Just go for a walk. Just literally walk around the block, and that'll be so helpful. You need the vitamin D from the sun because prednisone is stealing your vitamin D. You need your body to move. You need to just get out of the funk that prednisone has put you in. So that was the second thing. He did exercise for depression. He has a before bedtime routine for insomnia. Fully endorse this. I have a lot of recommendations. You can click the link below to find out my recommendations for healthy sleep habits. And then third are breathing techniques for anxiety. I think this is a fantastic strategy because prednisone is causing you feel unreal anxiety. It's not real. The way you're feeling is real, but it doesn't have a real source aside from the prednisone itself. There's not actually anything bad happening to you. And so we need to trick our bodies, like the prednisone tricked our bodies, so we need to trick our bodies back. And one of the ways we can do that is through breathing techniques. So I love the Calm app. I love the Headspace app. Just Google meditation for anxiety. Just Google breathing techniques. There's a million of them out there. They're all fantastic to help you reset, recalibrate this baseline anxiety you're having. Okay, so then a last question he's really asking is, how long is this going to last? And that's really the main question I get every time. So I looked this up on scientific literature. This is from a Pharmacist magazine. They summarize all the literature about it. And I'm just going to read you what they said. So following cessation of corticosteroid therapy, that was fancy for after stopping prednisone, it is reported that depressive symptoms can persist for approximately 4 weeks. So depression, 4 weeks is what you can expect. Mania for 3 weeks. And delirium for a few days. Approximately 50% of people with corticosteroid-associated psychosis improve in 4 days. And the other 50% in 2 weeks. discontinuation of long-term glucocorticoid therapy is associated with an increased risk of both depression and delirium or confusion in older adults who are at high risk for this. Okay, so that didn't actually talk about anxiety, but it did talk about things that are like anxiety. So depression is 4 weeks, mania for 3 weeks, depression a few days. I hear from people like Kyle in this story who said, it's been 3 weeks and I'm still having anxiety. And that didn't answer your question. And I don't really have an answer of how long it's going to last. The prednisone causing anxiety can last a few days, a few weeks, a few months, even up to a year. They just haven't done the studies. Nobody has proven, oh, it'll be gone in a week. There's no clear definition. And so I'm sorry if that is frustrating, that I can't say, oh, just 3 more days and you'll be fine. I don't know. I wish I did. If I knew, I'd probably have $1 million right now. So I don't know. And then his last question is, at what point should I consider possibly taking a medication to deal with this? And I personally think if you are suffering side effects so bad that they are interfering with your ability to function, you can't hold down your job, you can't be the parent you need to be, like if you are missing out on a crucial activity of daily life because prednisone caused such severe mental illness in you, then you should get treatment. And the treatments are different for each of the different symptoms. So there was the depression, there was the anxiety, there's the psychosis. Each of those all have their own different typical drugs that help. And in this article, it talked about some options. And it says that step 1 is to taper. So what he did is he went off cold turkey after 3 days. Oh, that was another question. Can I even cold turkey after 3 days? And yes, if it's within 10 days, you can just stop taking it. If you've taken 10 days or less of prednisone, you can stop taking prednisone cold turkey. Some doctors prescribe 40 milligrams for 5 days, stop. Some doctors prescribe 20 milligrams every day for 5 days, stop. Others go 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, stop. If it's less than 10 days, most people can cope with stopping it cold turkey. If it's beyond 10 days, I definitely do not recommend you going cold turkey. That is not safe. You need to taper, and I have tons of articles and videos all about tapering. But that was step 1, is like step 1 in treating this is get off the drug. You have to work with your doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice here, but you have to work with your doctor in this. You cannot just say, oh, I'm going off the drug. You have to be in constant communication with your doctor to stop taking it. That was first. Second, according to the experts, while the lack of high-quality prospective trials makes it difficult to establish an algorithm for the treatment of corticosteroid-induced psychosis, most case reports describe benefit from 2 types of drug, atypical antipsychotics and lithium. So atypical antipsychotics are really great drugs that come with some side effects. They work really well, and they weren't invented for prednisone causing it, but they would be great if you're having psychosis. Lithium is a fantastic drug. It requires special monitoring, so I would recommend that one too if you can find the right doctor to prescribe all of these drugs. And then anticonvulsants is another option if you can't tolerate the lithium. And then finally, antidepressants, which are also often anti-anxiety drugs, are helpful as well. And the thing about those that is tricky is that, of all of these actually, is it takes a while to kick in. And those first few weeks, it can actually get worse before it gets better. And so it's a really tricky thing. Do I want to go through another few weeks of anxiety/depression that could be even worse than before it kicks in and it's really helping you? So if you don't want to go through the guessing game, is this drug going to work for me? Because these drugs have a genetic component to them. Certain people with certain genes do better on certain drugs. And if you want to cut out that whole process and not have to guess and know, okay, I'm getting the exact right drug for me, for my genetics, for this situation, working with a doctor, I have resources for you. You can have what's called pharmacogenomic testing. That is where you swab your cheek and get some of your cheek cells, and you do a test, put it in a tube and send it off to a lab, and it tests to find out your specific genes. And then you can work with my specialized pharmacist friends. They're called pharmacogenomic specialists, and they can help you interpret those lab results to decide what the best drug for your situation would be. Then you don't have to waste weeks or months trying out a specific drug and seeing if it's going to work for you or not. You can take this test and find, this is the exact drug I need to help me get through this. Like I said, I have no idea how long it'll last. I've heard from people that it's lasted a year. I've heard from people that they're like, oh, it's gone after a few weeks. If you don't want to have to wait and find out how long it's going to last for you, if you don't want to have to wait and find out if this drug is going to work for you, then I can help you. Just fill out the contact form on my website and say, I need the special testing you talked about in your video, and I can help you. Get in contact with my pharmacist friends, my colleagues who specialize in this kind of testing. And so let me know if you have other questions. Also, if you have gone through this, will you please tell me how long it lasted for you? At least I can, make a case report. Patient took drug on July 1st. Terrible insomnia, anxiety, and depression until when? When did it stop? If you could let me know, I would love it. Then I could publish, this person had it for 2 weeks, this person had it for 2 months, this person had it for 2 years, whatever it is. I would love it if you would tell me. Just fill out that contact form on our website. Let me know on prednisonepharmacist.com how long it's lasted for you. So if you want some help, you can go on my contact form. I can either help you get the pharmacogenomic testing, I can schedule a one-on-one with you, or you can tell me, hey, I just want to let you know, for me, it lasted this long. I appreciate it.
Can you take magnesium with prednisone? This is an important question because what can't you take with prednisone, and is magnesium safe? Well, the answer is not just yes, that it's safe, but also it's highly recommended while taking prednisone to take magnesium with it. In this video, I'll explain why taking magnesium is so important, how it can help with prednisone side effects, plus the best way to take it. So why is magnesium so important while on prednisone? Prednisone, like other corticosteroids, can cause your body to lose magnesium through your urine. I found 13 scientific articles about this topic, and the impartial Natural Medicines database summarized it this way, concluding that corticosteroids have a depletion rating of moderate depletion. So monitor for depletion. A supplement is needed in some patients. Taking corticosteroids chronically increases excretion of magnesium in the urine. This is thought to be due to catabolism of bone, releasing magnesium and increasing the amount available for excretion. So that's what the Natural Medicines database says, and they are impartial, evidence-based, that prednisone is causing this legitimately. Somehow, prednisone is causing your body to release magnesium, whether it's through the bones or through how your kidney manages minerals like magnesium, potassium, and calcium. So what does it feel like when you have low magnesium caused by prednisone? This depletion can lead to symptoms like muscle cramps, muscle weakness, fatigue, irritability, insomnia, high blood pressure, and even osteoporosis. Prednisone itself increases the risks of those symptoms. So it's interesting to see the overlap between magnesium depletion and prednisone side effects. That maybe the side effects are actually due to a loss of magnesium and other minerals and vitamins. So if we give back magnesium, supplementing with magnesium and eating a diet rich in magnesium, what side effects can be helped? Well, magnesium plays an essential role in over 300 biochemical processes in your body. That's a lot of things that taking prednisone can mess with. So taking magnesium with prednisone can help relieve cramps, help relax your muscles, and prevent painful cramps. It can help reduce fatigue. Magnesium is crucial for energy production in your cells. If you're feeling drained while on prednisone, magnesium can help boost your energy. Number 3, magnesium can help improve your mood and reduce irritability. Prednisone can cause mood swings and irritability, partly due to its impact on nutrients and hormone levels. Magnesium helps balance neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin, which can improve your mood and help you feel calmer. Plus, if you use the right kind of magnesium, a kind that's bound to an amino acid like glycine or threonine or other amino acids, those can also help calm your mood. Number 4, magnesium helps support healthy bones. Prednisone's increasing your risk for osteoporosis by depleting calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, and many other nutrients. Magnesium works alongside calcium and vitamin D to strengthen your bones and reduce your risk for fractures. Number 5, magnesium can help support your blood pressure. Prednisone can raise blood pressure, but magnesium helps relax blood vessels, which can reduce high blood pressure and support healthy heart. Now that you need magnesium while on prednisone, here's how to take it safely. The dosage. Adults typically need between 200 and 400 milligrams of magnesium per day. The exact amount depends on your diet and your other health needs, so talk to your doctor if you're concerned or a dietitian about how much you really personally need. The best form of magnesium is either magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, or magnesium threonate. But I'm partial to magnesium glycinate. Like I mentioned, magnesium glycinate has the glycine amino acid in it that can cross the blood-brain barrier and also help you feel calm while taking prednisone. You'd want to avoid magnesium oxide as it's less well absorbed and doesn't have the bonus of being bound to an amino acid. To improve absorption, you can take it with food, or you can take it in the evening to help with feeling calm and restful and get restful sleep at night. There's no drug interaction between magnesium and prednisone, so you can take them alongside each other. There are a few situations where you should be cautious with magnesium, especially if you have kidney disease. Lots of people take prednisone for kidney disorders or diseases. And so in that situation, you definitely want to talk to your kidney doctor to see how much is safe for you or whether this is something you should avoid. And if you're taking other medications that affect magnesium, like diuretics or antacids, you may need to adjust the amount you take as well. I personally take 2 capsules every night at bedtime to help me feel calm and restful, and especially for my muscle cramps. I have a place with a lot of scar tissue on my foot, and it often cramps up. But since taking magnesium glycinate every night, I haven't had middle of the night muscle cramps ever since. So it has been so helpful. That alongside physical therapy for my foot. So to sum it up, magnesium is not only safe to take with prednisone, but it's highly recommended to counteract the depletion caused by prednisone. It helps support a healthy mood, healthy blood pressure, healthy bones, and help you feel calm and restful and get good sleep at night. If you're on prednisone, adding magnesium to your routine can help you feel stronger, calmer, and more energized. So while I take this kind alone because I need an extra amount, I also include it in Nutrinize Zone, which is the first and only supplement designed for people on prednisone. I created it, patented it, and I made sure to include magnesium glycinate in it. It's enough for most people, but if you have problems with muscle cramps like me, then I take both every night at bedtime. There's a bedtime bottle and a morning bottle, and both of them contain magnesium glycinate, 75 milligrams. So that's 150 milligrams a day. You could add this with 120 milligrams per dose, and it will boost it even more. That's what I personally do. So you can go to my website, nutrinize.com, and get both of these today.
What my family needs to know about prednisone. I asked thousands of people taking prednisone what they wish their family knew about prednisone. I asked them what they wish they could tell them, what they wish they understood. So if you're watching this and your family member is on prednisone, then I'm speaking to you because they need your understanding. And I want to share with you information that can help you keep your family together. I'm Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist. And I have a doctor of pharmacy degree. So I'm speaking with a little bit of authority here. Not only have I gone to school to learn all about this, but I have been publishing about prednisone for over a year as the prednisone pharmacist. I thought I'd start this with a little bit of humor. This meme is one of the first hits if you Google prednisone. And it says, the good news is prednisone will help to pull you out of this flare. The bad news is your family might want to take, just a second, an impromptu trip without you for the next 6 months. And that is so true. Prednisone makes family relationships a little bit more difficult. I mentioned that I'm the prednisone pharmacist, and it's not just because I'm a pharmacist. It's because I also took prednisone. I took prednisone for 9 months, and this is what it did to me. I had all of these terrible side effects. I looked like I was pregnant, my face got round like the moon, and I felt like a completely different person. So I became the prednisone pharmacist to help people on prednisone to cope with the side effects. These are the ones I experienced, but there are over 150 possible. What I did is I talked on a Facebook group and I said, what do you wish your family knew? And they answered in droves. I'm only going to share a few of their answers with you today, but there were a lot of really important themes. And one of the first themes was mood changes, how it makes you feel. Prednisone makes you feel like a completely different person and gives you mood swings. So I'm going to share with you their actual words. But what they said is completely 100% backed up with scientific evidence. There is evidence showing that prednisone truly does change your mood. It causes mood swings. It interferes with a lot of different processes that keep your mood stable. So this person said, the mood swings truly feel authentic. I'm not just blaming the pills. I literally can't tell what's real when I'm roiding out. And when she means roiding out, she's saying roid rage, like steroid. Prednisone is a steroid. And so that's a not so funny nickname we've given that complete and utter anger that prednisone can make you feel. This person shared a beautiful image. So pay attention and listen to hear what she said. I just don't want them to forget that I'm on prednisone. I may look normal and well, but I'm not. My patience is very short. I have an abundance of crazy energy, and yet I'm exhausted, both mentally and physically. I feel like I'm not me, as if I'm just a surprise passenger in my own body. Most things feel the same, almost normal. And yet, it's like I'm navigating the world through a new car. And I'm having trouble controlling the steering wheel and learning where all the bells and whistles are located. So with that beautiful imagery, she's showing what it feels like to be in somebody else's car, trying to drive it as if you've driven it for years. It's not that easy. You feel like a different person. This person talked about how prednisone changes everything. I wish my family could know and understand that prednisone changes everything about who I was before. How I feel, how I think, how I look, how I sleep, eat, drink. My vision, immune system, hair, skin, teeth, bones, everything, physically, spiritually, and mentally is different.
I wish doctors could know and understand this also. Like my cartoon side effects you saw, it affected my entire body. It changed everything. So there are 150 side effects, like I mentioned. And so this person is talking about the two different types. The mental game for me is harder than the physical side effects. I know the medicine is saving my life, but the heart palpitations make me feel anxious. The weight gain makes me depressed. The insomnia makes me so tired that I don't feel like a strong person because I need naps. The physical toll it takes makes me weak. So it's drawing from that full entire spectrum, not just the physical, but also the mental. It's really a toll. Lonely. There were several ways that people said this, but it was mentioned over and over how lonely people feel. It's a very lonely place. Nobody wants to bother. Depression, insomnia, pain, hunger, feeling like you have no control over your life. I think that phrase really sums it up. Being on prednisone makes you feel like you have no control over your mood, over your appetite, over your sleep. You have no control. And it's really hard because a lot of us, we're used to being in control. And it's incredibly humbling being put on something, this amazing medicine that is actually poisonous, causing all these terrible side effects. All right, tapering. This person said, she thinks I can just stop taking it and I'll be fine. I hate that it dominates my life like that. So what we all need to understand, every single person who has anything to do with prednisone, is you can't just stop taking it. That's life-threatening. If a person is taking prednisone, they need to take it for a very good reason. Either there's life-threatening reason to take it, or there's terrible pain or something awful that is worse, theoretically, than the side effects. And once they're on it, they have to stay on it until they slowly go on it. That's called tapering. To go off of it, that's tapering. And so the tapering must happen, and if it doesn't, then a terrible thing can happen. And that's on this next slide. Adrenal insufficiency. There's a gland on top of our kidneys called the adrenal gland, and it gives us amazing hormones that keep us alive. Prednisone turns it off. It just turns it off. Prednisone turns off the adrenal gland. And the reason we taper is to slowly let the adrenal gland wake up and start making those hormones again that keep us alive. If we go off prednisone like that, we could die because the adrenal gland can't kick back in and we can't cope. So you can't just go off of it. You won't just be fine if you stop it suddenly. You actually can die. It's called adrenal crisis. It happens. So this person about adrenal insufficiency said, it causes many different hormones. The adrenal insufficiency affects many different hormones in the body. The exhaustion and lack of motivation and apathy are not from a lack of willpower. That for every single thing you do, you depend on a bunch of hormones being well balanced. And healthy people don't even realize that what they're able to accomplish and what they take credit for as willpower depends very heavily on the health they take for granted. So you might feel like, oh, they're out of control with their eating or something, but the willpower comes from a specific hormonal cascade and signals that have to happen and that prednisone is interfering with. The next one is long-term side effects. Many people mention lots of different long-term consequences, but some of the worst include it causes my hip to disintegrate and I'd be left in a wheelchair, that it would destroy my body. weight gain. It's horrible. People described it as absurd. It makes your face round like the moon. And this girl said, my dad kept thinking I was pregnant, and I kept telling them it was the medicine doing it, making me bloated. Prednisone legitimately causes weight gain in the most unflattering places. It causes belly fat and moon face, a round face with fat depositions here, making you look pregnant and fat, even though you're not. And so, even though your loved one on prednisone might look different, please love them. Please give them support. Say it's okay that you've got the moon face. That the moon face is a symbol that you're fighting back against something terrible. That you're willing to take this poison and have your body disfigured anyway so that you can fight back and be healthy. That's what it really means. Okay. Hiding. People mention this over and over. How well we hide the awful side effects daily. How this drug is a lifesaver while destroying everything normal. Oh. And then this one. That what they see is only the tip of the prednisone iceberg. The rest, I'm struggling to conceal within because it is so horrible. This brings me to tears because I know exactly what they're talking about. It's completely legitimate. And then we're going to finish with this one. The worst part of illness has been the disfiguration of my face and body, being on so much steroids for so long. She was talking about a conversation she had with her mom. She was a bit unsympathetic. She said I should get over it because they saved my life. Yes, the prednisone saves our lives. And I'm grateful, but I'm not being vain. It's just upsetting to look in the mirror and see another face. You can be grateful, but also be sad at the same time. It would be nice to hear, yeah, that must be hard. It is hard. And I love how she said, you can be grateful and sad at the same time. I was super grateful to not be bleeding to death. I was super grateful to live to see another day with my children. But it was also sad that my Apple iPhone didn't recognize me anymore on the facial recognition software. That it thought the before prednisone me and the during prednisone me were two different people. It is hard, and people on prednisone need your love. They need your understanding. They need you to realize that it's not them, it's the drug. That when they are snappy, when they're cranky, when they have mood swings, that it's not really them doing that. It's really the prednisone. That when they are gaining weight and their appearance changes, that they really just need a hug. They don't want you to lie and say, no, honey, you're not fat. They want you to say, I love you no matter what. No matter what this terrible drug is doing to you, I love you. And my goal is to keep your family together, to help you find ways to cope with these side effects, because you need the peace that comes from a happy family. And so I encourage you to love no matter what, no matter how cranky, how moody, how disfigured your family member might be.
Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist here. And if you've ever wondered, and what I'm feeling real? Am I the only person who's ever felt this way? Well, we finally have a book published telling the true story of how terrible prednisone side effects really can be. From the insomnia, the insufferable insomnia, to even being admitted into a mental health facility. Oh my goodness. Luckily, today we have the chance for me to interview DP John, the author of Steroids Stole My Summer.
Hi, Dr. Megan. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
So excited to have you here. So DP, what is Steroids Stole My Summer all about?
So, Megan, this is a true life story about a man in his 40s that was overprescribed for a simple inner ear infection. And he was overprescribed with steroids, which kept him sleepless for over 3 weeks until a manic event that got him committed to a behavioral center. And that's where he got stuck for 17 days. And his diagnosis from the doctors there was corticosteroid-induced mania. And in effect, the steroids caused a temporary period of extreme high energy or a mood that might look similar to a bipolar disorder.
Wow, that sounds terrible. And what if people hadn't known he was on that medication? Like, just thinking, would they have even diagnosed him with that kind of a diagnosis or not? Like, oh my gosh. So I want to know, what type of steroids were these?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is a little timeline that I put together about Ryan's adventure here with steroids, really showing the prescribed medicines from, early July until late July. And really what you can see here is really the number of medicines that's kind of shocking and a little bit scary. But as far as the steroids, first he was prescribed methylprednisolone. And then after that, he was prescribed prednisone and then dexamethasone. So in addition to that, as you can see, there were also a number of different types of steroids, including some topical and nasal steroids that were prescribed.
Oh my goodness. Like, why would somebody need so much steroid and all these different ones? It's like he had, like, why wasn't the first one good enough? Why did they have to switch it to another one? Oh my heavens. And he had not just the oral steroids, but he had the topical ones in his nose. That is surprising for just a simple ear problem. I'm really shocked to see so much steroid usage in this situation, because you would think it would just be like a 1 week thing. And somehow he's been given prednisone and dexamethasone and methylprednisolone and these topicals. And they're all steroids, but steroid is like a really big umbrella term. And steroid could also include anabolic steroids, like bodybuilders use to build up muscles and, get that gym body. But that is not at all what this does. Not even close. In fact, these kind of steroids actually make your muscles go smaller. So these are called corticosteroids, prednisone, dexamethasone, and they help us deal with stress. And so this kind of stress he was dealing with, sounds like he almost got way more stress because of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The really what was prescribed here, again, for an inner ear infection, at one point after the first steroid was prescribed, he actually felt about 90% better. But then once that prescription ended, really it tailed off. And unfortunately, really what was at the root of the problem with this ear infection was not completely cleared up. So that's where they kind of went back for additional prednisone. And in addition to that, after that didn't resolve the problem, then there was some additional anti-inflammatory cocktails and other steroids and Valium prescribed to actually deal with some of the stress and the anxiety that was happening. You'll notice that that was actually not filled because Ryan at that point got concerned with the overprescription that the doctors were doing. But then he headed back to his general practitioner, who then, yet again, even knowing the situation, prescribed him with dexamethasone, right? They chose a different steroid. And, some other, like the transdermal scopolamine, patch to actually help with, some of the original symptoms that he had, which was simply around feeling dizzy and uneasy on his feet, right? So the reason why this story is so relevant today is really due to the numerous uses of prednisone that we see out in our environment. You talk about this every week, Megan. And then now we have the added use of dexamethasone for the sickest COVID patients for COVID-19, especially with these COVID-19 variants. We could be seeing an increase in the patients who have certain mood changes and manic events, like Ryan in my book, or even psychosis. And really the effect could be yet another massive influx of patients needing mental care, yet again overwhelming another healthcare system, as it has done time after time over the last year and a half. So really my feeling is that we need to get ahead of this. We need to start thinking about how we can address the side effects now.
That is for sure, because there are so many terrible side effects. I mean, and what we're seeing here with this, what you're showing on this timeline is we're having a prescription for a prescription for a prescription, right? Like there was one initial prescription, and then all of these other prescriptions are to treat the side effect.
So true.
Oh, and that's just so disheartening when there should be a better way, right? And so you mentioned some things that could be done to address this problem.
Yes, absolutely. So really the first thing is around drug monitoring, right? It's really not present in most medical practices today. And it's really key to understanding more about the side effects of these corticosteroids and to reducing the disastrous effects to a patient and their families, as Ryan had suffered. Whether this is a simple mood change, mania, or even psychosis, right? But drug monitoring is really just one aspect of the post-discharge care that is a necessity to both reduce the recovery time and reduce healthcare costs. However, it's often only self-service today, right? You get kicked to the curb sometimes and say, hey, call us if you're having an issue, right? Well, that's not drug monitoring. It's definitely not professional drug monitoring. No. And, these post-discharge care includes medications, wound care, physical therapy, mental counseling and therapy, right? And even post-discharge visit coordination. Think about the mental counseling that people have from all the anxiety and different mood changes. You need some way to treat that. So this really is an area that I feel that the healthcare community should be rallying around to create better methodology and processes and tools. Not only would this help their business models, but it'd also be important that we improve the lives of the public, helping them to get back to normal faster and consuming less of their hard-earned money. This slide here shows the recovery timelines and costs that were associated with Ryan. And as you put your eyes on this, you're going to be sad, because if you look on the left-hand side, this is the actual path and treatment that was taken. 47 days, $26,000 just in healthcare costs alone, not to mention the loss of Ryan's wages that he needs, that he needed for his family. July 1st through August 16th. So, roughly, 6-7 weeks, led him from the steroid, again, all prescribed steroid use, multiple emergency room visits, doctor's visits, insomnia building, and that's really what led to a manic episode, and not only just cost of money, but also the cost of humility, right, in the town where Ryan lives. A visit to the crisis center that was unfortunate, that could have been stopped, maybe just checked into a hospital and be able to give him better sleep aids and things. And then certainly ending up in a behavior center for 17 days at a cost really to healthcare and to Ryan, for $18,000. And I'm not talking just, hey, check in and check out when you want to. I'm talking he had to stay there until he was released by his doctor. So better cost of the scenario is, certainly still using the steroids because they were important to his recovery, but actually, having drug monitoring to detect those side effects and prevent this type of manic episode, getting a prescription simply from the, information provided from the drug monitoring to get a more effective sleep aid, right? And at home, correcting his sleep cycle, no visit to the crisis center, behave center, just staying home with his family and correcting this. Certainly a lot less time, and maybe only $550, right?
That is amazing. The differential between those two. And I was stunned in the book to hear how he advocated for himself. And even with his level of savvy with saying, no, I can't sleep when there's a light on in my room, how that like, and he helped work with the nurses to find ways to get the light so that it wasn't shining in his eyes all night long, to make it quieter, like all of these simple changes, how much effort it took him, and that he actually even bothered to try. For most people, they don't have that much savvy in knowing how to change an organization, how to make these huge yet simple changes. And so it sounds like this idea that you have, it comes with a lot of processes, a lot of technology, a lot of people who need to be trained. And how can we do, like, what can we do now before all of that process is in place? What can be done? What can be done in the meantime?
Megan, I so much appreciate you bringing up that reference because, even though I wrote it and Ryan lived it, every time I think about the opportunities that Ryan had to actually help to try to improve the system while he was stuck in there for 17 days, and, not only helping himself, but helping other people, just to get that ever so necessary sleep that is so critical to, rebuilding the mind, rebuilding the body. So important. And you're right, there are, long-term things that we can do with processes and methodology and people and money. But there are a lot more simple things that we can do. As an example, doctors' offices, healthcare institutions could simply start off by following up with their patients via phone or text or a simple internet survey that would at least alert the doctor's office if there was a concerning side effect, that needed to be followed up on with patients that are more at risk, right? They're going to have to use, their intelligence to determine, hey, which are the risky patients, which are the risky side effects, but they know that. So if they simply, pick up the phone, or put something simple in place. And then once, there's more momentum around this, right? Once companies, build these more post-discharge tracking systems, they could put them in, and this would really further automate it and scale things to cover more institutions and different types of post-discharge care, not only, relating from medications and drugs.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. It just hurt me when I was reading your beautiful book, to hear how the healthcare system was failing him, to hear how in this place where he's supposed to be recovering from a mental illness, that they're shining a flashlight in his eyeball every 30 minutes through the night. Like, just knowing the pharmacology of prednisone, the mechanism of how we sleep, how both those things are completely interfered with by light, and how just we absolutely need melatonin to be released. and how that's completely impossible, or you have a flashlight in your eyeball every 30 minutes. No wonder he couldn't recover.
Absolutely.
I just floored. Like, it just so sad. There's just so much room for improvement. Oh my goodness. This book, if you are taking prednisone, this book is just like, oh, I understand you. And you can finally have somebody who's like, that is exactly how I felt too. So based on all of this that you have shared, I want to know, what is your best advice for prednisone warriors?
Oh, great question. So, keeping things simple. I'll give you 3 things that I would suggest. Number 1, first, to everyone, write down all of your medications, right? Keep a medication notebook. Take it to your doctor's visits regularly, right? Because they're not tracking your medications, especially as you go from different doctors' offices that have different back-end technology systems, right? They're not sharing that information. So you're going to have to share it with them directly and keep asking, hey, did you see I'm taking this? Are you aware of this? Secondly, use the rule of 3, which I write about in my book. You and 2 family members or friends tracking your behavior and well-being from the medication, right? You'll have your opinion of how it's going for you. And, if you're in this state that Ryan was, it might be a little bit off. And then you'll have the opinions of your friends or family members. And, these are important to share together so that you can understand, what is happening or what's not happening, and then seek additional help from your medical providers. Thirdly, and even most important to this, I would say uprising of drug monitoring and post-discharge care, which is keep asking your doctors if they offer it, right? Hey, do you offer drug monitoring? Do you offer post-discharge monitoring? Is it free? Is there a fee for it? Can I get involved in your program? Because if you keep asking for these services, then demand will drive the healthcare industry to change. And there's some institutions that are already doing this already. However, they're few and far between. So we have to keep asking and demanding these types of services.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It's amazing how some people when I would dispense these medications to patients, how some of them are like, when I offer, hey, do you have any questions? They're like, no. And it's like, this is your chance, guys. This is your chance to say, I don't actually have a question, but what should I know about this medication? Just giving every healthcare provider in your team, whether it's your doctor, your pharmacist, nurse, whoever, the chance to really give you what advice they do have. Because if you're like, I don't have any questions, then you just really miss a huge chance, because what your doctor or pharmacist or whomever should be telling you about your steroid prescription is probably not what you think. And you might be surprised. It's funny, my pediatrician always apologizes when he's talking to me about my children's immunizations. And he's like, oh, you probably already know this because, you're an immunizer. And it's true. I did already know that at one point, but I don't live it and breathe it every day. And so I always say, I want to hear it. Tell me again, because I want to be sure that it's top of mind for me, and that when I'm in his office, that I'm using his expertise to the highest level, that I am demanding his full attention for me and my baby. And so when you are in a healthcare setting like Ryan, that you say, I can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That
Absolutely.
whatever weird thing you're feeling, that you communicate that with your doctor, because they can't know unless you tell them. And they can't know that you need help. They can't help you without your part in the healthcare triangle. And so you need to demand that drug monitoring by being in such close communication with your doctor. People that come to me all the time saying, I have this terrible anxiety after my doctor gave me either dexamethasone or prednisone or the Medrol dose pack, the methylprednisolone, and they just feel totally disabled. And they say, I can't sleep and I'm fidgety and jittery. And I said, have you told your doctor? And they're like, no. And so you need to be your own best advocate, because they can't help you with this anxiety, with this jitteriness, with the lack of sleep, unless you tell them. And if you saw that cool chart he made, it's got like what should have happened. And what should have happened was appropriate care from that first doctor. And the only way that first doctor can give appropriate care is with appropriate information from you, sharing your experience. They need to know. So I couldn't agree more with your suggestions here, that you demand this post-discharge drug monitoring. And then I've got to ask, so DP, we've heard just a snippet of this story. Like, guys, I listened to this book and it is fascinating. Like, I couldn't believe it. So I just want to know, where can we find you, DP? Tell us how to get a hold of this book so that we can hear his story and how to find these solutions that you proposed.
Absolutely. Thanks, Megan. And, you know, you brought up such great points about, advocacy, because I, as a writer, and, Ryan as the subject, we both believe in science, right? We both believe in medicine and, healthcare, everything about that. But it's important to be your own advocate, because, people are people, right? We all make mistakes. And you really need to take your body and your own health so seriously, and you have to take charge of it. And, regarding the book, I would say, I hope that whoever reads this or listens to this book really spends some time to, understand what's happening, to laugh at the funny things, right? I specifically wrote this, right, with the direction of Ryan to be funny, because there were some funny things that happened, right? And there were some interesting things that happened, like you mentioned about, the quest for sleep and the quest for, getting dim areas and darkness so that people can sleep and recover. So there's some things that hopefully, the readers will, take away from this and apply to their own lives, and again, get some amusement out of it, as I do every time I think about it. So you can find the book on Amazon, Kindle, iTunes, Barnes and Noble. It's on a lot of the smaller vendors as well. And you can also listen to the audio version on Audible. And really enjoyed being here today. Appreciate everything you're doing, Dr. Megan, to put light on these subjects, and all you're doing to help your constituency base. So thank you so much for taking the time with me.
Oh, it has been our privilege to have you here, DP. It's so nice that somebody, or you, took the time to actually write this story down, because the saddest part about these steroids is they're old drugs and nobody is paying attention. There's no big drug manufacturer out there who has this big wide wallet willing to spend lots of time to help people truly understand what it feels like. And so it's such a privilege that we have this book now, that you can read it, you can find out what someone else's experience was, so you can realize that you're not the only one. And not only that, so that you can find out that it's the drug, it's not you. That his story truly illustrates that prednisone can make you feel completely insane, completely not yourself. It can make you do things that you are not in control of. And so this book really lends legitimacy to all of those who are suffering so much, thinking, I think I've just gone insane. And that it's not. You aren't insane. It's just this drug. There is help available. And so many of these principles and ideas are found in this book. So I encourage you to buy it either on like the Amazon or the Audible. I personally love Audible. I love audiobooks. I'm a mom. I can't just sit there and read a hard copy of a book. So the only way I get it done is by listening while I'm doing the dishes or laundry or whatever. So I would highly encourage you to get this book and start acting on what he suggests at the end of the book.
Thank you so much for joining me for this Prednisone Mood Changes Marathon. I hope you feel more equipped now to handle the mood changes prednisone causes. From mood swings to anxiety and depression. Remember, you're not alone in this journey, and there are strategies and support for you to help you through it. But as anyone on prednisone knows, mood changes are just one part of the story. Another major challenge is insomnia. If you've ever spent sleepless nights wondering, why can't I fall asleep? Or how do I cope with prednisone-induced insomnia? You're not alone. That's why I've created my Prednisone Insomnia Marathon, where you'll learn why insomnia is prednisone's #1 tweeted side effect and why it's so frustrating. 9 or more tips to help you fall asleep and stay asleep, even while on prednisone, whether melatonin, CBD, or other remedies might help, and how to laugh your way through those sleepless nights with some relatable memes. If insomnia has been keeping you up, or you want to prepare for this side effect, be sure to check out the Insomnia Marathon next. You can find it linked in the description or in the playlist. Thanks again for trusting me as your guide in this prednisone journey. Watch that Insomnia Marathon next. Signing off as Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist.